குல்தீப் எம்பாய். மாடு மேய்க்கும் கண்ணே நீ போக வேண்டாம் சொன்னேன், மாடும் மேய்க்கும் கண்ணே நீ போக வேண்டாம் சொன்னேன், மாடு மேய்க்கும் கண்ணே நீ போக வேண்டாம் சொன்னேன், போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை சொல்லாதே நீயே, போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை செய்யாதே நீயே, போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை செய்யாதே நீயே, காய்ச்சின பாலு தாரேன் கற்கண்டு சீனி தாரேன், காய்ச்சின பாலு தாரேன் கற்கண்டு சீனி தாரேன், கை நிறைய வெண்ணெய் தாரேன் வெயிலில் போக வேண்டாம், கை நிறைய வெண்ணெய் தாரேன் வெயிலில் போக வேண்டாம், மாடு மேய்க்கும் கண்ணே நீ போக வேண்டாம் சொன்னேன், காய்ச்சின பாலும் வேண்டாம் கற்கண்டு சீனி வேண்டாம், காய்ச்சின பாலும் வேண்டாம் கற்கண்டு சீனி வேண்டாம், உல்லாசமாய் மாடு மேய்த்து ஒரு நொடியில் திரும்பி விடுவேன், உல்லாசமாய் மாடு மேய்த்து ஒரு நொடியில் திரும்பி விடுவேன், போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை சொல்லாதே நீயே, யமுனா நதிக்கரையில் எப்போதும் கல்வர் பயம், யமுனா நதிக்கரையில் எப்பொழுதும் கல்வர் பயம், கல்வர் வந்து உன்னை அடித்தால் கலங்கிடுவாய் கண்மணியே, கல்வர் வந்து உன்னை அடித்தால் கலங்கிடுவாய் கண்மணியே, மாடு மேய்க்கும் கண்ணே நீ போக வேண்டாம் சொன்னேன், கல்வனுக்கோர் கல்வன் உண்டோ கண்டதுண்டோ சொல்லு அம்மா, கல்வனுக்கோர் கல்வன் உண்டோ கண்டதுண்டோ சொல்லு அம்மா, கல்வன் வந்து என்னை அடித்தால் கண்டதுண்டம் செய்திடுவேன், கல்வன் வந்து என்னை அடித்தால் கண்டதுண்டம் செய்திடுவேன், போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை சொல்லாதே நீயே, கோவர்த்தனகிரியில் கோரமான மிருகங்கள் உண்டு, கோவர்த்தனகிரியில் கோவ கோரமான மிருகம் உண்டு, கரடி புலியை கண்டால் பயந்திடுவாய் கண்மணியை, கரடி புலியை கண்டால் பயந்திடுவாய் கண்மணியே, மாடு மேய்க்கும் கண்ணே நீ போக வேண்டாம் சொன்னேன், மாடு மேய்க்கும் கண்ணே நீ போக வேண்டாம் சொன்னேன், காட்டு மிருகங்கள் எல்லாம் என்னை கண்டால் ஓடி வரும், காட்டு மிருகங்கள் எல்லாம் என்னை கண்டால் ஓடி வரும், கூட்டம் கூட்டமாக வந்தால் வேட்டையாடி ஜெயித்திடுவேன், கூட்டம் கூட்டமாக வந்தால் வேட்டையாடி ஜெயித்திடுவேன், போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை சொல்லாதே நீயே, போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை சொல்லாதே நீயே, பச்சம்போ பச் பச்சமுள்ள நந்தகோபர் பாலன் எங்கே என்று கேட்டால், பச்சமுள்ள நந்தகோபர் பாலன் எங்கே என்று கேட்டால் என்ன பதில் சொல்வேனடா, என்ன பதில் சொல்வேனடா கண்மணியே, என்னடா பதில் சொல்வேன், என்ன பதில் சொல்வேனடா என்னுடைய கண்மணியே, என்னடா பதில் சொல்வேன், பாலருடன் வீதியிலே பந்தாடுகிறான் என்று சொல்லு, பாலருடன் வீதியிலே பந்தாடுகிறான் என்று சொல்லேன், தேடியே நீ வருகையிலே ஓடி வந்து நின்றிடுவேன், தேடியே நீ வருகையிலே ஓடி வந்து நின்றிடுவேன், போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை சொல்லாதே நீயே, மாடு மேய்க்கும் கண்ணே நீ போக வேண்டாம் சொன்னேன், போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை சொல்லாதே நீயே, மாடு மேய்க்கும் கண்ணே நீ போக வேண்டாம் சொன்னேன், போக வேண்டும் தாயே தடை சொல்லாதே நீயே. Translation. Oh, beloved coward, do not go out, I say. Certainly I have to go, mother. You stop me, not rather. Boiled milk I give, sugar crystals I give, a handful of butter too I give. In the hot sun you did not go. Neither I want boiled milk, nor I sugar crystals. Will cheerfully graze the cows and return in a moment. On the banks of river Yamuna, forever in the fear of thieves, If thieves approach you and attack you, you will shudder, my dear. Have you ever seen a thief tormenting another thief? Please reply, O mother, if the thieves show up and harm me, I'll sever them into bits and pieces. On Govardhana Hill reside ferocious animals. Beholding a bear or tiger, you will get petrified, my darling. All the forest animals come running on seeing me. If they approach in groups and herd, I'll hunt and win them over. If doubting Nandagopa questions, where is our son? What I am to reply on, my dear? Oh dear, what I am to reply? Oh my precious darling, what I am to reply? Tell him he is playing ball games with his friends on the street. As you come searching, I'll quickly run and arrive here. One can plead, argue, or even offer materialistic objects to the Lord when nothing goes his way. However, it's the omniscient and playful Krishna who has the final say. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hari Bol to you. Such a wonderful song, Mataji. I know it's
Thank
very famous also in the southern side. It's a very beautiful conversation happening between Krishna and Yashoda
you.
Mataji. So, yeah, it's such a wonderful, mesmerizing song, in fact. It's very, in fact, many students and youngsters also enact it in all the dance. Uh, I'm sure most of you would have seen, but for the others, it's a beautiful song you should all listen to. All right, very nice. Thank you, Mataji. So we'll
Thank you,
start with
Mataji.
the. Thank you, Mataji. We'll start with the Mangala Charan. So, Muthumanikam Prabhuji, would you like to do Mangala Charan? Hare Krishna. Muthumanikam Prabhuji, you're on mute if you're speaking. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अञ्जानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं तदादि स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपशास्त्रजातं श्रीसगगण रघुनाथान् विदां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णा पादान् सगगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान् विदां च नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणि नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गुरुदिवेश नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभय एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Danvat pranams. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. All right. So we are in which chapter right now? Hare Krishna.
We are in chapter 7, uniting two worlds.
Hari Bol. Chapter 7, Uniting Two Worlds. Okay, right. So yesterday we read quite a lot, almost 10 plus pages. So I would want someone to give me a very crisp summary. Mathematica Prabhuji, if you'd like, you can do. Make it very
Yes,
crisp, Prabhuji.
yes, Mataji. Because there are four areas we covered. Because one is PPT Trust, Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust
Yeah.
formation in 1974, and through BPT book distribution to all the ISKCON centers and sales and other things. Because 50-50 income divided to make purchasing property, one part, and another one is printing books, that expense and other things. Policy and other fixing the book dimension and art, everything initially the Srila Prabhupada involved, and Srila Prabhupada decision only can make. And this PPT having took big loans for developing book distribution and farming groups and initially. So lot of ISKCON centers not remitting the payments initially, and this was worried by Srila Prabhupada, that one part PPT having. Thus money comes only, then we can print more books like that. After that, Srila Prabhupada commented something, this books and other things. Srila Prabhupada quoted areas because we want to satisfy our guru's expectation, though, so we need to make our guru's dreams into true. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Swami always tell print books, and through magazines only we can speak to the people and we can spread the Krishna conscious. And we don't want to go to see the Lord, see the Supreme Personality of God. God have to come and see. And if we direct any people to make them Krishna consciousness, then God will automatically seeing us. That is the fundamental part Prabhupada shared. And somewhere in Vrindavana, he made come to open the Krishna Balarama temple, and Uttar Pradesh governor as a guest of honor came and visited there. And some meeting happened with the CBC men by Srila Prabhupada. That because Srila Prabhupada shared the some views about Chaitanya Charitamrita delays, printing delays. Sanskrit scholars giving the what you call translation and other things, and BBT press unable to print that one because Rameswara is in charge. Rameswara and Radha Vallabha, they are the in charge. Radha Vallabha is the production manager, and Rameswara is the PPT supervisor. Because instead of printing New York and distributing, Los Angeles they need to shift the press, and that only delayed such activity. So Prabhupada had and came to Los Angeles to meet people like Kamala Krishna Goswami, Tirthananda Swami, Vishnu Jana Swami, Brahmananda Swami, and other people, and sat in one room. And regarding these worries about printing books and this thing, and afterwards he told plus 17 volumes of um, Chaitanya Charitamrita book is already written, and We need to complete within 2 months. But impossible is a foolish word. Fool words finding in the dictionary. So people have to carry out the activities, and they what you call uh, Radha Vallabha and Rameshwara. They both have to do done the job like that. This is the things we learned. And afterwards, the Ford company grandson, now present president of Mayapur, came into picture. That way we stopped the method.
Hari bol, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Right? So, very beautifully summarized. Anyone else wants to add any other point? Okay. So, we were talking about, we concluded somewhere about, where were we exactly? So, we were discussing about Detroit.
Yeah, page number 294 we concluded.
Yes, 295 onwards we'll have to start. We concluded with 294. So what was the Detroit area? I mean, who were some of the big shots which Srila Prabhupada introduced?
Alfred Ford and labor leader Ruther.
Haribol. Nice, Prabhuji. So let me share my screen. So there was a limousine car which came in, right, at Detroit to kind of, pick up Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, right? And who are the people who did that? It is Alfred Ford, the great grandson of Henry Ford. Okay, so he was the one who came in the limousine car, and he had adopted to the principles of Krishna consciousness. He had been regularly chanting 16 rounds, and he became Srila Prabhupada's initiated disciple, and he was called Ambarisha. Okay, so Ambarisha was one of the devotee in Detroit, and the other devotee whom they were talking about is uh, Elizabeth Ruther, who's also got initiated as Leka Shravanti Devidasi. So she is the daughter of a labor leader called Walter Ruther, who's an iconic person there. And it has been told that Ambarisha and Ambarisha actually told Prabhu it's been that their family, the Fords and the Ruthers, they've always been enemies. But the descendants of their family, which is Ambarisha and Leka Shravanti, they were actually working together in Krishna consciousness. So that was the magic which happened there. And Srila Prabhupada was extremely pleased with the humility of these two disciples, and he gave them some special status. And he actually saw them as humble servants of the Vaishnavas. Okay, and while they were going for the meeting, Prabhupada's car also passed a large modern building which displayed the flags of many nations, and it had that big sign called World Headquarters Ford. Okay, so when one devotee turned to Ambarish and asked, "Is this where you work?" What did Srila Prabhupada say? He said, "No, he is the proprietor." Right, so that's so imagine someone of that stature and status to come and play the role of a chauffeur as a driver, right? That requires extreme humility and humbleness. And that is what these devotees have demonstrated, which Srila Prabhupada was extremely pleased about. Uh, because usually people from such backgrounds will have a lot of ego and attitude. It's very difficult for them to, become so humble and uh, accept certain things which they have done, right? And we concluded with this that as they passed by a big urban redevelopment project, Prabhupada asked, "What is this?" Okay, and then Ambarisha said, "This is known as Detroit's Renaissance Center." All right, so this is where we have to start. Okay, So, yeah, I see Valli Mataji. Would you like to start first, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
This is known as Detroit's Renaissance Center, said Ambarisha. They will never have a Renaissance, Prabhupada replied. The Detroit temple was located in an old brick house with the temple room in the third floor attic. The lease was soon due to run out, and Govardhana, the temple priest, was looking for a new place. He showed Prabhupada photos of likely buildings, one of them a mansion of the late auto industry millionaire Lawrence Fisher. The place was probably too expensive, Govardhana said, and was located in a bad neighborhood. But Prabhupada was interested. In fact, whatever the devotees cited as bad, Prabhupada would say was actually good, or at least could easily be rectified. As for the high rate in the area, he said, you'll have nothing to fear. Just chant Hare Krishna and distribute prasadam. Invite all the neighborhood people, thieves, and rascals to take prasadam and chant, and you won't have any thefts. Devotees emphasized that Detroit was the crime capital of the US and that the poor slum area where the mansion was located was known for drug trafficking, robberies, and murders. But Srila Prabhupada repeated that they should not be afraid. I lived in the Bowery, he said, and he described how the Burns used to urinate on in front door and lie across the doorway. But the but when he would come to enter the building, they would get up and say, yes, sir, come on, sir. Get the place, Prabhupada said, and chant Hare Krishna there 24 hours a day. If a thief comes, we will say, yes, first take prasadam and then take whatever you want. What do we have? Srila Prabhupada went to see the mansion with Govardhana, Ambarisha, and several GBC men. They were met by the owner and a lady who introduced herself as a real estate agent. As the owner guided them on a tour, Prabhupada came to like the estate even more. The palatial building was situated on 4 acres surrounded by a high stone wall. There were gardens and walkways now in disrepair, as well as fountains and a swimming pool. Some of the devotees thought the place gaudy with its extravagant 1920s decor, but Srila Prabhupada saw the great potential. As soon as he entered the vestibule and saw the ornate Italian tiles and marble archways, he began to smile. The group entered the lobby, its high ceiling covered with classically sculptured leaves, rosettes, and hand-painted plaster flowers. Next, they entered the ballroom with its marble floor and high vaulted ceiling painted to resemble an early evening blue sky with the clouds and stars. Special lighting gave the effect of natural starlight. At the end of the hall, 3 marble arches exactly resembled the design Prabhupada had given for the deity altars in his temple. 3 altars could be installed there, and the ballroom made into a temple with very little renovation. Prabhupada did not comment to the owner on the ballroom's suitability, but to the devotee it was obvious. The tour then proceeded to the boat well, an indoor water garage.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Dhanvat pranam, Mataji. Ekambar Prabhuji, would you like to continue next? Hare Krishna. Whoever would like to read, please. Hands.
The
Hare Krishna.
tour then proceeded to the boat well, an indoor water garage capable of holding several yachts. The boat well opened into a channel, which opened into the nearby Detroit River. Prabhupada mentioned that the devotees could get a boat for the preaching. As Prabhupada entered one gorgeous room after another, they saw the many carved stone columns, hand-painted floor, and wall tiles from Italy and Greece, and ceilings ornamented with gold leaf figures. Rare antique crystal chandeliers adorned many of the rooms. There were living rooms, library room, a dining room, a billiards room, a music room, 2 master bedrooms, other bedrooms, all extravaganzas. Each room is worth the entire price, said Prabhupada privately to the devotees. The owner spoke to Mayan Moorish, Spanish, Greek, and Italian influences, and pointed out that the two-hand carved spiral columns in the dining room were salvaged from an ancient European palace. Wherever Srila Prabhupada looked, he saw opulence. An indoor marble fountain, a wall of iridescent tiles, hard painted co- co- cornices. Even the large bathrooms were extraordinary with glamorous imported tiles and gold plated accents. The introductory tour completed. Prabhupada, his followers, the owner, and the real estate agent sat together at an umbrella covered patio table by the swimming pool. Already, Srila Prabhupada had mentioned in his disciples that the owner should donate the building for ISKCON's missionary purposes, and he had told Brahmananda Swami to make the request. Since the owner had not mentioned the price, Prabhupada spoke up. So we are beggars, he began. He was serious, and yet he spoke
Done with
with an air of
Prabhuji.
humor. Ambarish and
Hare Krishna,
Bhupendra
Prabhuji.
hid their faces in embarrassment. We are no money Prabhupada to deal boldly.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Done with pranams. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Lakshmi Mataji, would you like to continue next, Mataji?
Yes,
Hare
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, we are asking you, please give us this building. The owner glanced incredulously at his real estate agent and then laughed nervously. It's out of the question, he said. I can't do that. The agent was also taken aback and upset. He can't do that, she whispered. I can't give it to you, explained the owner, because I have taken a loss in maintaining this property. So I have to make my money back. This property represents a major part of my income. Then said Prabhupada, how much do you want? Well, the man replied, I have to get at least $350,000. None of the devotees dared say anything. Prabhupada thought for a moment and then said, we will give you $300,000 cash. I will have to think about it, the man replied. The real estate agent got to her feet, saying that a transaction like this is usually not done straight to the owner. But Prabhupada ignored her and spoke with the owner about how lovely the mansion was. Prabhupada then got up and took a short walk in the garden with his men. Govardhana asked Prabhupada if he liked the place, and Prabhupada said, yes, who would not like such a building? Ambarisha doesn't like it, said Govardhana. Oh, Ambarisha said he thought the mansion was Maya. Yes, said Prabhupada, but Maya is also Krishna. We can use anything in Krishna's service. Leaving the garden path and returning to their cars, Prabhupada asked Ambarisha, so is this possible? Yes, Prabhupada, this is possible. As soon as they returned to the temple, Ambarisha and Lekha Shravanti conferred. Her inheritance was limited, but she was able to give $125,000. Ambarisha had to come up with the balance. Next day, the owner came to Sri Srila Prabhupada. The man was accompanied by two women, and they all appeared a little intoxicated. He had come to say that he accepted the offer. Prabhupada smiled and reaffirmed his intention to buy. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams.
Hare Krishna. Done with pranams, Mataji. Muthumanikam Prabhuji, would you like to read next? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Afterward, Srila Prabhupada openly showed his blissfulness about the purchase. Just see, he said, I didn't have one penny, and yet I offered him $300,000 cash. And now Krishna has provided the money. As Prabhupada had told the estate owner, I am a sannyasi, I have no money. And after collecting $300,000 from his disciple, he still had no money. Within a few days, he left for Toronto, taking nothing for himself. Everything was Krishna's to be used as Krishna's service. In Toronto, Srila Prabhupada's North American tour was suddenly interrupted. A telegram from Tejas in New Delhi announced that if Prabhupada wanted an interview with Indira Gandhi, he would have to come at once. The telegram contained no details, and his secretary was unable to reach the Delhi temple by phone. But Prabhupada didn't need to hear anything more. When an auspicious opportunity arose, he said a devotee should act at once. Hari, Harikesha planned the trip so they could stop in Montreal overnight. From Montreal, they could fly to Paris, where Prabhupada could rest before going to Delhi. As a word of Prabhupada's imminent departure spread, several devotees in Toronto tried to see him for last instruction about their projects. Rameswara also phoned from Los Angeles, pressing Harikesha, who asked Prabhupada a list of last-minute editorial questions regarding the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The questions, however, concerning the Bhagavatam explanation of structure of the universe, Prabhupada rejected as unintelligent. He ordered the PPT to simply print the books as they were. Not only was the prospect of meeting with the Prime Minister Gandhi prompting Prabhupada's return to India, but so were his uncompleted projects, especially Hare Krishna land in Bombay. Brahmananda Swami said he thought Prabhupada had been looking for such a chance to end his Western tour and get back into personally managing the projects in India. Prabhupada had just dictated a letter to Surabhi in Vrindavana expressing disappointment that things would not get done without him. You are simply writing letters to me. Without my personal presence, there you cannot do anything. Simply correspondence. Anyway, be careful. There is no underhanded dealing in this transaction that is purchasing land. It is very much risky. So be careful. Please send me a regular report of the Bombay construction. I am very much anxious and will be glad to receive your regular report. New Delhi, August 22,
Hare
1973.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavata. Hare Krishna. Pushpa Mataji, would you like to continue next? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dhanwad Mata,
Krishna.
there may be some little disturbance in between.
No
Sorry for
problem.
that. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At 9:15 in the morning, New Delhi, August 22, 1975. At 19:15 in the morning, Srila Prabhupada and several of his leading disciples arrived at the Prime Minister's home. They were uh, where they were confronted by a formidable security check. 2 days before the Prime Minister of Bangladesh had been assassinated, the Mrs. Gandhi was rumored to be next. Armored soldiers therefore surrounded her residence. The guards at the outer gate decided that the foreigners could not go in. Srila Prabhupada alone could enter. While one guard opened the gate, another unsure Srila Prabhupada into a car which carried him to the Prime Minister's front door. Meanwhile, the devotee waited in anxiety by the outer gate. Always some disciple would accompany Prabhupada whenever he went. His disciple worried, almost like doting parents, that he might need their assistance. In tiny, crumpled handwriting, Srila Prabhupada had noted down in a small address book a list of points he wanted to discuss with Mrs. Gandhi. Grant immigration for 500 foreigners, all MPs initiated Brahmins, Sanjaya the king, closed slaughterhouses, chanting, meat eaters at home, no public meat eating, prostitution punishable, no religious group except Bhagavad Gita as it is. All, gov- all government officers must join then export Krishna consciousness over. The item was
Hare
at
Krishna.
the the list. Gandhi, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Danvat pranams. Okay, I see some more people in the Ponraj Prabhuji, would you like to read next? Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I'm outside. Can I read tomorrow, Mataji? Definitely.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji, no problem. You can listen, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, so anyone else would like to read Hare Krishna?
I like to read.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
The most pressing item was that head of the list, Mrs. Gandhi should grant permanent visas to Prabhupada's Western disciples in India just a few weeks above, just a few weeks before. Some of all the foreign devotees in Mayapur had been asked to leave the country. For years, Prabhupada had been asking for permanent visas whenever he met governors, members of the parliament, or other men of influence. Devotees were constantly being asked to leave the country to renew their 6 months visas. The travel cost incurred and the disruption of the devotees' services seriously hampered ISKCON's work in India. Therefore, Prabhupada wanted Indira Gandhi to sanction up to 500 foreign disciples to stay permanently in India. The other points of Srila Prabhupada's list were scriptural directions for how the Prime Minister could make her leadership Krishna conscious in the spirit of the great Rajaris of the Vedic age. These were the same tenets of the God conscious leadership he preached wherever he went, and he had deep conviction that if the world's leaders would apply them, an era of peace, prosperity, and happiness would dawn. Indira Gandhi had a tendency toward authoritative control, so she should exercise it in terms of Vedic directions. Then her rule could become most effective and beneficial. A government official opened the door to Srila Prabhupada's car, ushered him into the house, and brought him before the Prime Minister. As Prabhupada entered the room, Mrs. Gandhi stood up. Although she greeted him cordially and offered him a seat, he could immediately detect that she was distracted, fearful for her life. She openly admitted it and added that this was not therefore a good time for their meeting. Prabhupada felt that she would have preferred not to meet at all, but was allowing it only because she had promised promised. Her agreeing to see him, he felt, was an indication that she had some attraction for spiritual life, but he understood that on this visit, at least, he could he could not introduce the extensive advice he had been contemplating. Mrs. Gandhi complimented Srila Prabhupada on the work he was doing all over the world. They are good boys, he replied, and he asked if she could arrange for permanent visas. She agreed, but again mentioned her present anxiety. They soon ended their talk and Srila Prabhupada left. A few days later, while still in New Delhi, Srila Prabhupada received a letter from Rameshwara. The BPT in Los Angeles was miraculously fulfilling Sri Prabhupada's order to publish 17 volumes in 2 months. The composers, editors,
Hare Krishna,
artists, and
Mataji. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Danvat pranams. Lakshmi Mataji, would you like to continue next? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Master Hare Krishna. A few days later, while still in New Delhi, Srila Prabhupada received a letter from Rameshwara. The BBT in Los Angeles was miraculously fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's order to publish 17 volumes in 2 months. The composers, editors, artists, and workers had aesthetically finished their marathon on schedule. When the first books had come back from the printers and had been offered on the altar of Rukmini Dwarkadisha, the devotees had cried in transcendental bliss, chanting again and again the mantras to Srila Prabhupada. They were feeling the potency of the order of their spiritual master and seeing themselves as instrument in carrying out what had once seemed an impossible request. Today, our composer finished the last volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita. By Wednesday next week, August 20th, all volumes will be at the printer. Now they are just starting to compose a fifth canto, and the entire canto will definitely be at the printer by Vyasa Puja Day. After promising delivery of books by October at the latest, the letter was signed by about 60 devotees, your unworthy servants at ISKCON Press. On their behalf, Rameshwara stated, "We have lost all desire to do anything except be engaged in producing and distributing your transcendental books by the millions in every town and village." Srila Prabhupada wrote back the next day from Delhi, "Regarding your desire for all 12 cantos, you will get it, rest assured. Your so much ardent desire will be fulfilled by Krishna." On August 21st, the appearance day of Lord Balrama, Rameshwara sent Srila Prabhupada a telegram. By the mercy of Lord Balrama, Nityananda, the last volume of Chaitanya Charitamrita is leaving today for the printer. By your mercy and divine order, it is done. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Danvat pranams. Thank you so much. Muthumanikam Prabhuji, would you like to read next, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Although Srila Prabhupada traveled to Vrindavana, the devotees were able to dispatch advance copies of 15 volumes to him by his 18th birthday on August 31. Just after Prabhupada observed the ceremony in the temple, the devotee arrived in Vrindavana with the final 6 volumes of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. With the great relish and satisfaction, Srila Prabhupada examined the books. He was pleased with the artwork and quickly became absorbed in reading the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. He felt so inspired, he remarked all touring and just saying in Vrindavana and translating. The reciprocation of the devotee as ISKCON Press was so sincere that it increased Srila Prabhupada's desire to reciprocate with them. He wrote to my dear Rameswara and company, "You have taken seriously the publishing and also the distribution of these books, and that is the success of our mission. You have taken seriously this work, and I know that my Guru Maharaja is pleased with you because he wanted this. So, by this endeavor, you will also go back home, back to garden. In a few short years,
You will
Srila
all
Prabhupada, yes, Mataji, you will all go back to garden, home, back to garden. In a few short years, Srila Prabhupada had seen the publishing facilities of ISKCON evolve from the small hand-operated A.B. Dick printing press at his first storefront temple in New York to the sophisticated PPT operation in Los Angeles. Equipped with the latest computer typesetting machines and staffed with the devoted hardworking crew of managers, editors, proofreaders, artists, photographers, designers, layout artists, and photo technicians. Whereas in India, before he had gone to the West, Srila Prabhupada had struggled alone for months to organize the printing of a single volume of his Srimad Bhagavatam translation. He now saw his loving disciples rushing his manuscripts into print as fast as he could produce them. Moreover, they were simultaneously translating them into a variety of languages all over the world. Vrindavana, September 13, 1975. On Radhastami, Srila Prabhupada laid the cornerstone for a large Gurukula building adjacent to the Krishna Balaram Mandir. He said that when it was built, the devotees should accommodate 500 students there from all over the world through the gorgeous temple, the guest house. And soon the Kurukula Srila Prabhupada intended to draw as many people as possible to the shelter of Krishna in Vrindavana. For this end, he was willing to sacrificed everything, even his peaceful writing, and for this end he also demanded his disciples to sacrifice. Constant
Thank
travel,
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranams. Ekambar Prabhuji, would you like to read next? Hare Krishna.
Constant travel, Srila Prabhupada said, was becoming more and more inconvenient. One reason for his return to India, but he was by by no means stopping. Unless he traveled, his movement could not remain vital and healthy. So he was prepared, despite inconvenience. Recently, Pushta Krishna Swami had asked him to come to South Africa. When Prabhupada agreed, Pushta Krishna had quickly arranged 10 festivals and other engagements in Durban and Johannesburg, covering a period of 3 weeks in October. Devotees on the predominantly Hindu island of Mauritius had also requested Prabhupada to visit, mentioning that the Prime Minister wanted to meet him. Prabhupada agreed. Leaving Vrindavan, making brief stops in Delhi, Ahmedabad, and Bombay, he was off to Africa. Mauritius, October 24th. Prabhupada had come to Mauritius to meet the Prime Minister. As a friendly gesture, the Prime Minister had sent a chauffeured car for Srila Prabhupada used during his stay. One day, Prabhupada was leaving to take a ride in the countryside, but as he was about to enter the car on the right side, Pushta Krishna Swami suggested Srila Prabhupada come to the other side, it is safer. When Prabhupada complied, for an half an hour they rode through the beautiful countryside, past sugarcane fields, mountains, and the ocean. At one point they stopped and walked along a cliff beside the sea. When they returned to the car, Brahmananda Swami opened the right side door and Prabhupada said, no, the other side is safer, just as Pushta Krishna had previously suggested. A few minutes later, as Prabhupada's black Citroen was rounding a Volkswagen suddenly appeared, heading toward them in the same lane. Prabhupada was seated behind Pushkar Krishna and Brahmananda was seated behind the driver. The moment before the Volkswagen had appeared, Srila Prabhupada had sat up, cross-legged, planting his cane against the floor of the car to support himself. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Pushpa Mataji, would
Hare
you like to
Krishna.
read? We'll conclude with this page.
Yes, Mother. As the Volkswagen rushed towards them, the chauffeur braked, swerving to the left. But the Volkswagen swerved in the same direction. There was a head-on collision. Pusta Krishna's head hit the windshield, cracking the glass. The driver's head also slammed against the glass, and his face was covered with blood. In the backseat, Srila Prabhupada remained sitting, his face set gravely. Brahmanand, in shock, suddenly embraced Prabhupada as if to protect him, although the danger had already passed. Brahmanand then jumped out of the car to try and flag down a motorist, and Pusta Krishna got out and opened the back door, where he found Srila Prabhupada with his leg, Hare Krishna, his leg bleeding, and pieces of glass scattered at his feet. Prabhupada didn't speak Hare Krishna. Speak speak or indicate how he left. Suddenly, Pushta Krishna realized that the car disabled on a curb was in dangerous position. So he joined Brahmanand in the road to caution motorists and tried to get someone to stop. The Citroen and the Volkswagen were totaled, and the men and women in the Volkswagen were both injured. Motorists soon stopped. When the injured person had received help, Prabhupada and the devotee got into car and rode back to the temple. Harikesha was suddenly Harikesha was waiting anxiously, wondering why Srila Prabhupada was so late, when suddenly Prabhupada entered, walking very stiffly, saying nothing. When Harikesha saw all three were injured, he cried out, my God, what happened? What happened? But Srila Prabhupada just walked to his quarter and sat down silent. A devotee brought bandages for the obvious injuries. Prabhupada's chin, hand, leg, and Pushta Krishna and Brahmanand's head. Srila Prabhupada had said nothing since the accident. Finally, he spoke. Asana api klesha sa klesa da asa deha. And he translated, as soon as you accept this material body, there are so many difficulties. We were sitting peacefully in the car, the next moment crash. He talked briefly about the collision. Brahmanand Swami told how just before the accident Prabhupada had braced himself with his cane, preventing perhaps more serious injury. Hare Krishna Mata, Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much, Mataji. So we will stop here today. We'll continue the rest of it tomorrow. So we'll see tomorrow if possible. I don't think by tomorrow we can finish. By Monday, surely we can finish chapter 7 and we will start chapter 8. So Hari bol to all of you. Thank you for joining in on Saturday as well. And I just wanted to take a moment to congratulate Ekambar Prabhuji's grandsons. They have won couple of prizes and Ekambar Prabhuji, would you like to share about that with everyone here for their music?
They are attending a music class where
Yes,
they have
Prabhuji.
received first prize and second prize for the year 2025-26.
Very nice. Haribol. So, Ankush and Avyuk,
Yeah,
Ekamaji's grandsons, they've actually won first place in classical music competition for the year 2025-26. So, Haribol, Prabhuji, please convey wishes from all our end. And
sure,
may the blessings of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada be there with them abundantly. And please ask them to come and sing whenever they are free the
sure,
songs so
sure,
that we'll be happy to hear. Very
sure, sure,
nice.
sure.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. We will continue with the tomorrow as well. Tomorrow we will join by 9:15. I pushed it to 9:30 because we had the weekly satsang today. But tomorrow we will, as usual, go back to our previous time. 9:15 we will start our class. Thank you, everyone. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय. जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Anvat pranams. Hare Krishna, everyone.